Hey everybody, it's Al, and welcome to another edition of Here I Stand Up. And basically, I'm not going to give you a date because we're going to call this Here I Stand Up in the Can. And what we mean is that we want to give you original content each and every week. And because of that, some weeks we run into a little glitch here or there. And this is one of those that is going to go in the can until we need to bring it out. So I am here with my buddy. He goes from pastor to my buddy on this one. But I wanted to talk very, very quickly about my nicknames over the years. And the reason I bring that up is because I have probably gotten more nicknames than anybody, or at least I feel like I have, on the planet, and both organic and created. And I know a lot of people call me Al. Al naturally, was started from Alan, and that was my full name, was Alan. Al got started, believe it or not, on my first Sunday at church. I do remember the fact that my Sunday school teacher did not call me Alan; she called me Al.
Oh,
and
that's her.
Yeah, and in fact, she was one of those people who would do little funny things, and so she ended up going from Al to Owl, like OWL. So, and she would do that, I know, just to kind of keep the kids giggling, and it wasn't hurtful or anything like that. So she'd always go, anytime she'd see me, she'd go, hoo, which, yeah, I know, which is
Clever.
Silly. Yeah, it's clever because, it gave you a distinction. But I can remember first starting as Owl. Then, when I moved into playing ball, I played T-ball in Sarasota, Florida, and being a chubby kid, and there was a show called Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In way back when, and they did a sports segment, which was kind of a mock, a skit sports show, and the guy was named Alan Suze, who was the sportscaster, and he was Big Al Sports. So everybody heard Big Al, and they automatically, I got thrown to Big Al. Well, my friend, when I started going to the YMCA, Ken, who was my big brother and talked about many, many times, stayed close with his family over the years. And as their kids grew up, everybody always knew me as Big Al through all this time. They, as kids, they couldn't say it. They couldn't say Big Al as they were developing as kids, and they would call me Biggle. Biggle. And so suddenly, I've gone from Alan to Al to Owl to Big Al. Now I'm at Biggle. And I played the role of Biggle very well, but in between all those was my favorite nickname. And for those of you that don't know, I've only said it 10,000 times. From 1974 to 1979, I was employed as a bat boy and clubhouse guy by the Chicago White Sox baseball team. And you say, what, you're Sarasota? How did that happen? They were spring training headquarters, and their minor league headquarters were here in Sarasota. I had the privilege of going up for 2 of those seasons, actually 3 of those seasons, to work in Chicago as well, which is stories we'll tell at some other point. Why does that have to do with nicknames? Well, I showed up over there one day at their winter instructional league, and that was the day before they had security and they did all that stuff. And I self-appointed to be the bat boy. I mean, literally rode up to the fence, parked my bike, and became the bat boy. I guess they thought that took a little bit of moxie even back then, and they adopted me into the fold almost immediately, but nobody knew my name, and some guy came up with, because again, being chubby, groceries. They called me Groceries. And for the subsequent years that I worked for the Chicago White Sox, nobody would have never known Al Ernst or Big O or Big Al or anything. They called me Groceries, and I have to tell you that in and of itself is my all-time favorite nickname, and I keep that one as my secret favorite up to this day. then all of a sudden I become a stand-up comedian. The last name Ernst, and we've been talking about words, is butchered in the South. It is absolutely butchered. Ernst is a single syllable. I've been called Ernest. I've been called Earnest. I've had it spelled EARNST. I mean, every which way but Ernst, ERNST. And by the way, folks, the German translation, which is obviously a German name, the German translation of Ernst means stern and serious. How'd that happen? I'm not that guy. Anyway, as I became a comedian, when they couldn't say Ernest, they would mess it up on every introduction. I just said, bring me out as the E-Man. And at the time, that was when we called it email and electronic stuff was becoming in vogue. I became the E-Man. Okay, nickname. I'm good with it. I still like groceries. Last but not least, it brings you up to today. A lot of people, they don't really call me this as a nickname, but what I'm kind of known as, and with our publications, is the Jester Dog. And the Jester Dog is my creation, and it comes from two things. For 33 years, I've either been on the road or I've been on ships, and we called comedians road dogs. There are two types of comedians. The guys who worked in L.A. and New York and did all the little local stuff, and then there was us, the road dogs, that were always out somewhere. I kind of changed that because road dog could mean anything from truck driver to whatever, and everybody, and I hate, and you want to get me riled up, call me a nickname of the Joker, because we're not jokers. We're not like the thing in the card deck or the Batman villain. I believe a true comedian is a jester, and if we go back in that history, and I just put Jester Dog together with it, happen to really like dogs as well. So not really ever called a Jester Dog. I'm just that's just kind of the moniker. So if you want to get my attention the most, call me groceries, or like the Paul Simon song says, you can call me Al. Yep, that is Here I Stand Up in the Can.